Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. My name is Muhammad Faiz and I will be your moderator for today. First off, greetings from Malaysian Green Technology and Climate Change Center, MGTC. And on behalf of MGTC, we would like to thank you for your precious time by attending this webinar. Before we begin, I would like to share a little bit about our very own organization, MGTC. Malaysian Green Technology and Climate Change Center, MGTC, formerly known as Malaysian Green Technology Corporation, is an agency under the Ministry of Environment and Water, known as KASA. Our mandate is to drive the country in the scope of green growth, climate change mitigation, and green lifestyle. MGTC performs three main roles, which is mainstreaming the economy through green products and services, expansion programs such as MyHIJAU certification program, Green Technology Investment Tax Exemption, GT, as well as training and human capital development schemes. Second, driving climate change mitigation actions such as advocacy for energy efficiency and renewable energy, low carbon urban programs and low carbon mobility, and cultivating a green lifestyle through publicity and awareness programs in fostering cooperation between the government and private sectors in the global scale platforms such as International Green Tech and Eco Products Exhibition and Conference Malaysia, MyHIJAU, and other public programs physically or through social media. Okay. It is worth to note that Green Standards and Verification Center, in short GSVC, is responsible for today's webinar. GSVC is one of the departments under MGTC with the function that focus first, green recognition. The scheme under this activity is the MyHIJAU Mark Directory, which is a recognition of certified products and services that meet local and international environmental standards under one single mark and listed in the directory. GSBC will assess certified green products and services to be recognized under this program. Second, Green Technology Incentive. GSBC manages and administers incentives introduced by the government to spur the development of green investment under Green Technology Tax Incentive. GSBC verifies the green criteria applications for tax incentive, which include three categories: Green Investment Tax Allowance for green assets, Green Investment Tax Allowance for green project, and Green Investment Tax Exemption for green service companies. Third, Government Green Procurement, GGP. Green procurement is one of the strategies to create demand for green products and services. Under the spirit of government leading by example, the Ministry of Finance, MOF, is championing the Government Green Procurement Program, of which MGTC is the implementing agency. GSBC conducts seminar and training to promote the adoption of green procurement among ministries, agencies, state government, and local authorities, including the development of GGP guideline and product criteria. For today's webinar, we will be having three sessions. We will start off with MyHIJAU Mark Recognition Scheme for Green Products and Services by Puan Syahira, followed by Tax Incentive, Green Investment Tax Allowance, GITA, and Green Income Tax Exemption, GT, by Puan Siti. As for the Q&A, you may address your question throughout the presentation or during the Q&A session at the very end of webinar. To ask questions, we appreciate the participants to use the Q&A chat located at the bottom right of the screen, and do let us know your name and your company followed by your question. Without any further delay, I would like to invite our first speaker, Puan Syahira, to present MyHIJAU Mark.
All right, thank you, Faiz, for the opening remarks. So let me share my screen first. Okay, I hope everybody can see my slideshow. Is it? All right. Okay. Thank you again, Chief Faiz, for the opening remarks. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Nur Shahira binti Abdul Rahim. So currently, I'm assigned under the Green Standard and also Verification Center, whereby our department handling various projects that basically cater for number one, MyHIJAU mark recognition scheme. Secondly, would be the Green Technology Tax Incentive. Okay, so for today's session, my part will be to deliver on the MyHIJAU mark as a green recognition scheme for green products and also green recognition scheme for green services. Okay, so without further delay, I think my screen, okay, so this is the outline for today's presentation. I will be introduced with what is the MyHIJAU mark first, and then followed by the criteria how to register with the MyHIJAU marking, and then followed by introductions a little bit on our MyHIJAU directory. Okay, so for your information, I will be glad to share that how do the MyHIJAU support the sustainability. For your information, in the Sustainable Development Goal (SDG) developed by the United Nations to achieve the KPI by 2030, there is a KPI under 17, which is to achieve the sustainable consumption and also productions. Okay, so how do the MyHIJAU leverage to achieve on the sustainable consumption and also production is that if you could see from the my slide presentation, to cater for the sustainable production in order to produce more green products, to provide more green service provider, we have a program that we initiated, what we call as a green industry and also SME development. Okay, so the idea of having the green industry and also SME development program is that we will identify the list of companies that produce the green products and also provide the green services. So once we have the list of a pool of company, we will also provide in terms of capacity training, capacity buildings, in terms of how to make sure that the products are basically meeting the green product standard. Okay, so for the service provider, how to make it their staff to be more competent person and so on lah, right? So apart from that, we also give some financial assistance in terms of how to basically helping them to assist them in terms of grow up their products, their company and so on. Okay, so one, we have identified the list of a company who providing the green services and also producing the green products. We provide them a green recognition tool. Okay, I repeat, we provide them with a green recognition tool, what we call as a MyHIJAU marking. Okay, so for your information, MyHIJAU marking is endorsement tools. Okay, to say that your product is trustworthy, credible, meeting to the international standard, meeting to the environmental standard. So by having the MyHIJAU marking there, the green label there, the Malaysia MyHIJAU marking, it is promotional tools, useful tools for you to say that your product is basically green, your company is basically is a green service provider. Okay. So like I mentioned, MyHIJAU mark is a recognition scheme. So in order for you to be recognized under that marking, your products need to be certified first. As you can see on the right, these are the green label certification scheme, okay, that you must obtain first in order for you to be recognized under the MyHIJAU marking. So we have various green certification scheme that existed around the world. Okay, you could see the list of the green label certification scheme from the Eco Labels Index. Okay, www.ecolabelsindex. So from the website, you can find variety of green label certification scheme that we recognize under the MyHIJAU marking. So some of it, SIRIM, Eco Label, PEFC, FAC, Energy Star Rating, and so on. Okay, there are various green label certification scheme that fit for each of sector. Right, so that's the way how we tackle sustainable production. So in order to create more demand for the green products and also green service provider, we have developed a online website, what we call as a green directory lah. So this green directory, the list of recognized green products and also green service provider is called as a MyHIJAU. This is our official online website, www.myhijau.my. Okay, so from this website, you can search, you can filter, you can sorting for all the list of green products and also green service provider that have been recognized under the MyHIJAU marking. Okay, so you will be able to filter accordingly to each sector, to each certification scheme. Okay, it will be enable you to see what are the environmental benefits, okay, what are the technical feature metrics that are available. Okay, so the intention of introduction of the green directory is that it will be used for the public, for the user, as well as our government green procurement to identify easily the list of a recognized green product as well as the green service company. Okay, so as for our government green procurement officer, it will basically menjimatkan masa for them lah, so to directly be for them to easily access for the list of green products and also green service company. All right. So, so they don't have to basically study into further detail what are the criteria, what are the parameters in order for them to recognize the product are basically green or not. Okay. So, like I said, the ultimately goal for the MyHIJAU marking is basically to support for the government green procurement. Okay, so what is GGP basically? GGP is basically a process whereby the government is basically doing a tendering process, procurement into focusing buying green products and also using green service provider. Okay, so to support for the government green procurement implementation, so there's a few guidelines, there's a few documentation to support on the GGP. So one of it, under the 11 Malaysia plan, it has emphasized that to have a 20% of GGP value, government green procurement value, to achieve by 20% procurement value. All right. So other than that, we also provide the garis panduan perolehan hijau kerajaan. Currently, we have developed the latest one, garis panduan perolehan hijau kerajaan 3.0. It is basically a guideline, a booklet that we provide to all the procurement officer, how to make them easier to identify and also run the procurement process in terms of identify the green products, okay, identify the cost comparison between the green products that you are basically procuring and so on. Okay, what are the criteria or the environmental standard that applicable to the green product that you have been selected under the government green procurement. Okay, so that's the way how the MyHIJAU basically support the sustainability in terms of sustainable consumption and also production. Okay. So in tandem with the MyHIJAU implementation, the government also announced two types of fiscal incentive, whereby number one, for those company who are basically procured green products and also including equipment also system, you may applicable to enjoy the green investment tax allowance. Okay, for the service provider that are listed under the MyHIJAU marking, you are applicable to enjoy for the income tax exemption. All right, so this would be catered under the green technology tax incentive. Okay, under the green investment tax allowance, what we call as a JITA, we have two types. Number one is a JITA asset, another one is a JITA project. Okay, so basically those equipment and also system that are listed under the MyHIJAU marking for asset, you could enjoy the investment tax allowance for asset. Another one, we have investment tax allowance for project for green for your business or for your own consumption also. Okay, so another one, like I said, we have the income tax exemption lah, whereby your company will be exempted from paying the income tax. Okay, so another one, to support for the MyHIJAU, we also have the green technology financing scheme. So it is basically government will be incentivized 2% interest rate for the project offered. And also the government will be your guarantor for the project in terms of a soft loan. But unfortunately, the GTFS currently will be announced sooner or later for the GTFS 3.0. Okay. So like I said, what is a MyHIJAU marking? It is basically a recognition scheme, endorsement tools, okay, for the certified green product and also services that already meeting the local and also international standard under a single marking. Okay, so the intention of having only a single marking is that like a halal logo. If you like to identify halal product, you only have to search or find the halal logo, right? So same cases here. If you like to find the green product, you have to only find the MyHIJAU marking label. So it will be easier for you to identify the green products and also the services. Okay, so in order for you to be recognized under the MyHIJAU marking, you have to be certified first. All right, so like I mentioned before, under the MyHIJAU marking, we have identified various green label certification scheme, okay, from various sectors. Like for example, we have Serum Eco Label, we have Japan Eco Mark, we have identified MTCC, PEFC, Energy Star, OK Compost, and so on. So if you have any one of these label, yes, you could be recognized under the MyHIJAU marking. So the idea of having all the green certification under a single marking is basically to avoid self-declared or greenwashing item. In the market currently, there are many of products that are basically self-declared, meaning you said that the product are basically eco-certified, or maybe you said that the product are basically green, but then the product does not yet meeting to the environmental standard or does not yet been tested to prove on the eco criteria as been declared. Okay, so one of the idea how to basically eliminate the greenwashing product is that in Malaysia, is that we are introducing the MyHIJAU marking recognition scheme. So by having only a single marking, you can easily identify the green products and also the green services. Okay. All right, so here comes to what are the benefits of having the MyHIJAU mark recognition. Okay, number one, it will be the source for the GGP and also the GPP. Okay, this one is basically your company will be prioritized to participate in the government tendering procurement process. Okay, like for the PP, the green private purchasing, those companies under the link agency company like UEM Berhad plus Berhad, when they are open tendering process in terms of a green procurement, they will select only the MyHIJAU mark product to be participated under their procurement process. Okay, so basically they will stated that only MyHIJAU mark products or service provider that are applicable to participate in their procurement tendering process. Okay, that will be the first the first benefit for those MyHIJAU mark company whoever listed under the MyHIJAU marking. Okay, second, like I said, company who are basically purchasing the MyHIJAU mark product, including equipment and also system, you can enjoy to have the benefit to claim back the deductions of the deductions for your income tax in terms of eligible for green investment tax allowance. Okay, for this one we have two types. Number one is asset, second one is for project. Asset is for all the equipment and also system that listed under the MyHIJAU marking, and the other one is a project for the business and also own consumption. All right, so this is for your buyer, for your client, whoever purchased your product that have been listed under the MyHIJAU marking, they could enjoy for the green investment tax allowance. Okay. All right, for the service provider, what could they enjoy when they are participating or they registering their companies under the MyHIJAU marking? Is that number three? Your green service provider, your company will be enjoying the exemption for income tax, whereby this fall under the green income tax exemption, meaning you don't have to pay your company tax up to 5 years until 2023. Okay, for the green technology tax incentive, after this, my colleague, Puan Siti Fatima, she will deliberate more further details on the guidelines and how to apply and so on for the green technology tax incentive. Okay, so these are basically the benefits of having the MyHIJAU marking. All right, just to share with you on the GGP, the Government Green Procurement Implementation, we have started on 2016, whereby we have selected 20 products groups and also 12 ministry to participate for the government green procurement. Okay, when I say that we have selected the 20 product group, it is based on two factors. Number one is basically the readiness, the market readiness to produce the green products. Okay, second, the highest procurement value by the government. All right, so along the way from 2016 until up to date, we have increased more than 30 product groups under the government green procurement. Okay, so currently all 25 ministry together with their government agency have been participated for the GGP. Just to share with you, we also cascade down to the several states, whereby several states also have been implementing their green procurement when they are open up their tendering procurement process. For example, like street light, when they would like to procure the street light, they will mention that you have to make sure that the street light are basically have the MyHIJAU marking level. Okay, so this initiative is being supported by the government's announcement to target a value of 20% GDP by the year of 2020. Okay, just to share with you what are the products groups that have been selected. Initially, we have selected a few of energy sector products, like for example, ICT, energy efficient, indoor lighting, and some of it cater on the consumer product like a paper, paint, okay? So some of it as a cleaning services, building facility management services, data center, multi-purpose photocopier, okay? And followed by some of the consumable products like biodegradable packaging, stationery, okay, water efficient products, and so on. Okay, so we also added more product groups like masonry units, sustainable event management, electric pump, fertilizer, toner, and so on. Okay. So here are the GGP guidelines to support the implementation of the government green procurement. Okay, initially under our previous ministry, KETA, we have introduced the introduction of government green procurement 1.0, how to implement the government green procurement in Malaysia, okay, how to select the green products and so on. So updated version, currently we have introduced the latest Garis Panduan Perolehan Hijau Kerajaan 3.0. So under 3.0 booklet, we have identified 40 product groups that have been selected to participate in the government green procurement. Okay, so if you're interested to further know details on the Garis Panduan, we will basically email to you the link of booklet, the soft copy booklet for the Garis Panduan Perolehan Hijau Kerajaan. Okay. So like I mentioned, there's a KPI of to achieve 20% GGP procurement value by the year of 2020. So here are the GGP performance up to 2019. As you could see, the most highest procured product would be the ICT, followed by the solar energy like solar PV and also solar inverter, okay, followed by some of the feature on the building like paint or coating, and then followed by the consumable product, which is a paper, okay. So that's all on the benefit, what is a MyHIJAU marking, and so on, right? So next, we go to the criteria, okay? How to register for MyHIJAU marking. For your information, we have two types of registration. Okay, number one is MyHIJAU mark product, second is MyHIJAU mark services. Okay, MyHIJAU mark product is for company who producing green products, and also we open up also for reseller or also trader lah. Alright. Another one is MyHIJAU mark services, which is this one is for green service provider. Alright. So for the registration, we do it online basis. There's a no hard copy submission at all. Okay, you have to register via the website myhijau.my. Alright, so upon registering, you have to download first the guideline to register for the MyHIJAU mark product, and also the guideline how to register for the MyHIJAU services. Alright, so the process would be you have to registering your company information first. You have to key in your company info like company name, your registration number, your company address, and also the contact person, and then follow by the product itself. Right, for the product, you have to key in the product documents, product brochure, image, and so on, and then follow by the payment, and also there's a one document you have to submit to us, which is the statutory declaration form. Okay, for this SDF document, you have to submit it hard copy. The original one, you have to submit it hard copy to our office. But since it is a MCO period, so there is a exceptional for you to submit it later after end of the MCO. Okay, so you can basically submit the product without, you can basically submit the application without the SDF document, right? So I go first on the MyHIJAU mark general criteria. Okay, in order for you to register under the MyHIJAU marking, the green product or services must meet all. Okay, I mentioned this is must meet all, meaning your product or your services must minimize the degradation of the environment, reduce the GHG emission, and also promotes health and improve the environment and conserve the use of energy, water, and other form of natural resources. Or it promote the use of RE, or is it able to recycle waste material resources. So for your information, all these general criteria is derived from the National Green Technology Policy. Okay. So I go first with the criteria of MyHIJAU mark product. So for the company, Malaysian Sdn Berhad or enterprise could be eligible to register for the MyHIJAU mark product. Okay, like I mentioned, if you are distributor or reseller, yes, you could also register for MyHIJAU mark product, but you have to upload together your LOA, your letter of authorization lah. Okay, or sales agreement, okay, saying that you have the right to purchase, to sell, to distribute the product here in Malaysia. For the private limited company, we also open it up for you to register for MyHIJAU, but you have to also submit together the MIDA approval letter, stating that you punya company operation, duration of the years operation in Malaysia berapa lama, itulah. Okay, so that will be the criteria for the company. Okay, then we go to the most important one, the criteria, eligibility criteria for the product. In order to be recognized under the MyHIJAU marking, you must have the green label certification. Okay, remember that I showed previously those various green certification label. Okay, you must have those either one of the green label certification in order for you to be registered under the MyHIJAU marking. Okay, so another criteria that we accept under the MyHIJAU mark is that if you have the performance standard compliance report from the testing laboratory or independent certification body that have been recognized under the Green Tech Malaysia, you could register your product under the MyHIJAU mark. Okay, so here are the details. Okay, these are the classification of the green product certification that we recognize. There are 4 categories for the green product certification under the MyHIJAU mark. Okay, number 1, if you have the green label certification, Eco Label Type 1, standard applies is ISO 40024. You could recognize your product under the MyHIJAU marking. So example of Eco Label Type 1 is Serum Eco Label, if Malaysia. Okay, so if you already got the Serum Eco Label scheme, you boleh register your product under the MyHIJAU marking. If you have the Eco Label Type 1 from other countries, let's say for example Singapore, you already obtained their Eco Label Type 1, which is Singapore Green Label. Yes, you also could register your product under the MyHIJAU marking. As long as the certification is fall under the Eco Label type, the standard apply is ISO 40034, your product could register under the MyHIJAU marking. Okay, so meaning, let's say if your product already obtained the Indonesia Eco Lamah Lingkungan, okay, which is that one is fall under Eco Label Type 1. So you don't need to basically repeat your certification here in Malaysia. You could directly use the Eco Label Type 1 from the foreign countries to register under the MyHIJAU marking. Okay, so let's say if you don't have any Eco Label Type 1, okay, but you have the second category, the Eco Label Type 3. Okay, Eco Label Type 3 standard applies is 40,025. Okay, if you have the Eco Label Type 3, example I give there is Serum Carbon Footprint. Yes, you could also register your product under the MyHIJAU marking. Okay, so let's say if you obtain carbon footprint from the other countries, okay, like Singapore carbon footprint, or maybe Japan Ecomark or Environmental Product Declaration (EPD), which is fall also under the eco-label types 3 kan. Yes, you could also recognize your product under the MyHIJAU marking. Okay, let's say if you don't have the eco-label type 3, but you have the VSS certification scheme, the Voluntary Sustainable Scheme. Okay, Voluntary Sustainable Scheme here meaning your product have been certified under a single criteria. Okay, for example, your product have been certified under energy efficiency claimable, or your product have been certified under the water efficiency claimable, and so on. Okay, so if your product have been certified under the VSS certification scheme, you could register them under the MyHIJAU marking. Okay, so last one, our last criteria for the green product cert that could register under the MyHIJAU mark is basically the performance standard compliant test report. Okay, you have to basically aware that if you are submitting the performance standard compliant test report, you must submit all together the safety and also the quality and also the performance test report. Okay, example I give here is electric motorcycle. Okay, the electric motorcycle has been performed or has been complied to the MS 2413 part 3 that specifically mentioned on the performance test as a electric motorcycle. Okay, so you have, like I mentioned, you have to submit safety and also quality together, right? Okay, this is a general information. The eco-label type 1, it is a voluntary third-party certification. It will certify your product based on multiple criteria. Okay, meaning they will mention or they will identify the green element criteria from each of the life cycle phase of the product. Okay, example like a green paint. The green paint is basically derived from non-solvent base, so it will extract the raw material punya extraction. What are the green element? And then during the production phase, there is permissible limits of heavy metal or toxic substance being used. Okay, and then during the production usage, there's a permissible limits of or no formaldehydes or VOC level permitted from the usage. And then up to this disposal phase, there are 3 are being implemented. So that would be the eco-label type 1 production based on a multiple criteria. Okay, so for the benchmark, the eco-label type 1 is yang paling bagus because it will quantify, it will basically identify the green element criteria from each of the phase of the life cycle of the product. Okay, so here are the labels that fall under the eco-label type 1. Okay, if somebody asks you what are the eco-label type 1 in Malaysia, you could answer it by saying that the Sirim eco-label. Okay, Sirim eco-label yang gambar gasing tu is our Malaysia eco-label, right? So like from the other countries as well, they have their own eco-label. Okay, like Thailand, they have their Thailand green label. Like Indonesia, they have their Indonesia ramah lingkungan, and so on. Okay, so if you have any of these label that fall under the eco-label type 1, you can register your product under the MyHIJAU marking. Okay. Okay, just to share with you, eco-label type 3, same like eco-label type 1, which is the only difference is that they will quantify the value of carbon dioxide, okay, from each of the life cycle of the product assessment. Okay, so during the manufacturing level, they will calculate the CO2 deduction during the transportation phase and so on. Okay. So from Malaysia, we have our, again, SIRIM, carbon footprint. Other countries as well, they have their own carbon footprint, like Japan, carbon footprint, and so on. So the lower the value of CO2 being emitted is better lah. Alright, so normally carbon footprint level, dia akan tunjukkan the value of CO2 yang being emitted by the product itself. Okay, so if you have the carbon footprint level, yes, you could register your product under the MyHIJAU marking. Okay, so for type 3, the difference is that it will quantify your product based on single criteria. Remember, like I said, you will obtain the certification tu either from your product is basically energy efficient ke, ataupun water efficient ke, ataupun your product is biodegradable ke, ataupun your product is derived from sustainable forestry ke, and so on. Okay. So here example for the energy dulu ya. For the energy efficiency, Malaysia, we have identified, we have recognized the energy efficiency rating and labeling scheme from the Energy Commission. I think there will be a typical logo for our most of the electrical appliances in Malaysia. Alright, so currently 6 electrical appliances have been regulated under the Energy Commission, which are TV, air conditioning, refrigerator, lamp, a washing machine, and air conditioner. Okay, so for MyHIJAU mark, we only accepted 5 star. Okay, 5 star to be recognized under the MyHIJAU marking. Okay, let's say if you already obtained from the other countries, like for example, Energy Star from US. Okay, like for laptop, for the projector, for the air conditioner and so on. Yes, you could also register your product under the MyHIJAU marking. Okay, for the big equipment like the chiller, like the heat pump, okay, compressor, you could basically obtain from China's certificate for the energy conservation scheme. Okay, like Korea also, they have their own high efficiency cert. Okay, so for water sector in Malaysia, we had recognized the WEPs from Suruhanjaya Perkhidmatan Air Negara. Okay, for wells, we only accepted 2 and 3 star only. Okay, so from the other countries as well, we could recognize their certification scheme so long as it fall under the VSS certification scheme. Alright, these are the example for the VSS under the sustainable timber. Okay, from Malaysia, we have recognized the MTCC logo. Okay, if you already obtained from PFC or FSC, you could register your product under the MyHIJAU marking. Okay, other level that we are sharing here, basically the recycle standard level, the textile Ecotex 100, the OK compost and biodegradable, and also for the some of the renewable energy equipment and also system, you could recognize or you could obtain the micro generation certification scheme, BSI. This is an international level lah. Okay. Last one, I would like to share on the performance standard compliant test report. Okay, so like I mentioned before, if you could see from the test report, it will clearly mention the standard applicable on the general safety and also the performance. Okay, it will showing you what are the models that have been compliant to the standard. Okay, the name of the company. Okay. So another example is for solar PV. The test report, we will mention what are the standard applicable, who are the CB testing laboratory, okay, what are the models that have been compliance to the IEC 61215 and so on. Just for your information, under the performance standard compliance, more products like energy efficiency or renewable energy product or equipment and also system are more applicable to the performance standard compliant test report. Okay. Okay, end of MyHIJAU Mark product. Then this is a criteria for the MyHIJAU Mark service. So for the company, only Sdn Bhd and also Berhad are applicable for the service, MyHIJAU Mark service. If you are enterprise, yes, you boleh register juga under the MyHIJAU marking. However, you are not eligible to enjoy for the green income tax exemption. Okay. Okay, then we go to the specifically criteria for the service provider. Okay, number one, you must have employed at least one staff, manager or supervisor level that have been recognized as a competent person. Okay, competent person here not meaning bachelor academician qualification like IR, professor, okay, TS and so on. It is more into the service that you are offering. For example, if you are under solar service provider, the competent person must undergo a training at ISPQ, okay, ataupun the company itself have been registering dekat SEDA as a solar service provider. Okay, let's say if you are ESCO company, you have to have at least one staff that have the electrical punya energy manager person and so on. Okay, like let's say if you are providing a green building, okay, solution, you must have at least one staff manager level or supervisor level that have undergone training as a GBI facilitator and so on, right? So second, you must submit a green policy together with the SOP, standard operating procedure. Okay, the second document, the green policy is a very simple document. It's a single page. You have to mention what are your mission towards the sustainability, right? And then the SOP is more detailed process whereby you have to clearly mention to us what are the process taken into account during the consultation phases, during the installation phases, up to the disposal units of the product that you have been offering. Okay. So here are the example of the certificate of competency. Okay, like we have the SEDA certificate of competency to the ISPQ, and then you have the GBI facilitator certificate. We also have the certified as an energy manager from AMAS and so on. Okay, so here are the example of the policy, a single page signed by your CEO or MD, your vision, mission and so on, right? So here are more the detailed one. It will be good if you could provide to us in the flowchart form together with the duration, time taken, and who are the PIC personnel that have been assigned in order to, for each of the phase of the procedure. Okay, so like here we share on the solar PV consultancy services, starting from the project initiation, followed by the feasibility study, and then up to the detail engineering design. Okay, last but not least, we also have the processing fee applicable for the MyHIJAU Mark product registration together with the MyHIJAU Mark services registration. For the processing fee for MyHIJAU Mark product, our registration fee is RM500 for certification, while for the service provider is 1,000. Okay, we do have the validity period for the MyHIJAU cert. We will follow the exactly expiry date of the certificate that you are submitting, or we have the maximum of 3 years. 3 tahun from the validity period. For example, kalau you submit Siri Eco Label, the validity period is 2 tahun, so we will follow the 2 years validity period. But if you're submitting for let's say FAC, which is the validity period is 5 years, but we have the maximum validity period is only up to 3 years. Okay. So for the renewal fees and the renewal process, it is same like a first time application process. Okay. For the service provider, you have to renew it yearly, annually. Okay. Until your have been until your green income tax exemption to finish lah, right? So here are our registered certification and verification partner who might able to assist you further details if you like to have assistance in terms of testing your products into the environmental standard. Okay, let's say if you are interested to go to CRIM to certify your product under the eco level CRIM, you could contact CRIM Berhad, okay, and others parties. These are the parties that who are the one who basically will test your products and also giving out the issuance of the competency and also provide the training to your staff. Okay, so if you would like to know further details on the CBs that have been working together with us, you can go to our website myhijau.my. So there's a one tab called partner, so you could go to that tab, and then under the partner tab, we already share the contact detail, the contact name person, the email, and the telephone number for your site to contact them further. Okay, so just to share with you, for last year achievement, we have registered more than 5,000 green products and also services under the MyHIJAU marking. So we would like to have doubled it more. By this year, we have to have more than 10,000 green products and also services to be registered in the MyHIJAU mark. Okay, so we are welcoming your products and your services to be registering under the MyHIJAU marking. So here are the website. Later on, if you would like to register for MyHIJAU, here are the website that you kena pergi lah. So dekat sini, we apart from the application process here, you could also see the directory there. Remember, okay, this is the listing directory whereby the directory is basically saying that the product is credible, trustworthy, and basically meeting to the environmental standard. Okay, so here you could sorting, you could filter accordingly to the sector, category, and so on. Also here we shared with the public or user or whoever would like to know further detail on the MyHIJAU mark product. What are the compliance category? What are the certification scheme that have been received by them? Okay, what are the environmental claims? So let's say if you would like to know further detail on the product itself, you also could contact the company contact person. Okay. So apart from we have the website, we also have the mobile apps. Okay, so you could download it via the App Store or Google Play. So MyHIJAU apps is available for you for you to see the list of green products and also services. All right. So last one, we also would like to inform and also share with you guys those company who already registered your product under the MyHIJAU marking. We also offering your site to basically send your product to exhibit at our green gallery here. This is at our office area whereby we have some counter, what we call as a green gallery, to basically display your certified green products here. Okay, so because our office normally been visited by the delegates, by the public, by the visitors. So here are slot that we basically open up for the visitor to see and also to know more on the green products that are available in Malaysia. Okay. So without that, I end my presentation. So if you would like to have further inquiry related to your products and so on, you may email to me nurshahira@mgtc.gov.my. So during the MCO, we are currently working from home, and if you also can text to us via the handphone hotline 019-308-8286. Okay. So at the end of the session, we will have the Q&A session. So any question could be asked during that session. Okay, so I hope the presentation is basically beneficial to you guys, and hope to see you soon. All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Puan Syaira, for the detailed input of MyHIJAU. So let us move on to the next session. Now I would like to invite Puan Siti to present on Gita. Over to you, Puan Siti.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone. So today I will share on Green Technology Tax Incentive. All right. Okay. So for today webinar, I will share on a brief introduction for the Green Technology Tax Incentive, and then we go through each category and the guidelines. So basically, for this Green Technology Tax Incentive, it is one of the initiatives provided by the government to strengthen and support the development of green technology industries in Malaysia. So for the introduction, in Budget 2014, government announced that they will provide investment tax allowance for the purchase of green technology asset, equipment, and also income tax exemption on the use of green technology services. Following that, in Budget 2019, the government expand the list of green technology assets, which is from 9 assets to 40 assets, which the asset also will be listed in the MyHIJAU directory. And then this at that moment, this incentive will be end until 31st December 2020. And later in Budget 2020, government announced that this incentive will be extended until 31st December 2023. So other than that, there will be additional activities, which is on an incentive, which is on 70% income tax exemption for the companies that undertake solar leasing activities. But for these solar leasing activities, is under purview SEDA Malaysia. So for today's session, I will share on the GITA Green Investment Tax Allowance for asset and project, and also green income tax exemption GITA services. So for the category of green technology tax incentive, it will be divided into 3 categories, which is the first one, green investment tax allowance for asset, which also known as GITA assets. For GITA assets, it's applicable for company that acquire green technology assets and listed under the MyHIJAU directory. And then number 2 is green investments tax allowance for project, which also known as GITA projects. For GITA projects, it's applicable for companies undertake a qualifying green technology project, either for business or for own consumption. So therefore 2 categories. And then last one is a green income tax exemption for services, which also known as GITA services. For GITA services, it's applicable for qualifying green technology service providers, companies that are listed under MyHIJAU directory. So I will go through the guideline one by one, starting with green GITA asset. Okay, for GITA asset, MGTC rule is to verify the approved green technology asset and the impact from the acquisition. And other than that, the GITA asset will be based on the asset that registered under MyHIJAU mark and listed under MyHIJAU directory. Why we say that is a approved green technology asset? Basically, the approved green technology asset, that asset is approved by Ministry of Finance. So meaning to say not all the asset that registered under MyHIJAU mark is eligible under this GITA asset incentive. So we need to check lah. Later I will share what are the list of green technology assets that are approved under GITA assets. So basically for MyHIJAU marks, I believe Puan Shahira just shared now, it's not a certification, but it's just a Malaysia official green recognition for the certified green products and services. So these are the main requirement for GITA asset. So for the eligibility, GITA assets, the companies that incurred the qualifying capex on the green technology investment must comply all these criteria. So basically, this criteria is general criteria from the National Green Technology Policy, which includes minimize the degradation of environment, promotes health, conserve the use of energy, waters, and also promote of the use of renewable energy. And then the asset, like I mentioned earlier, the asset must be registered and listed under MyHIJAU directory. So for the rate incentive GITA asset, this GITA asset, the rate is 100%. The qualifying capital expenditure incurred on the approved green technology asset, which the list of asset I will share later. And then the asset, the incentive can be claimed in the year of assessment where GITA asset is purchased. And then for the period of purchase must be made between 25th October 2013 until 31st December 2023. So meaning until end period of incentive. And then company must submit application to MGTC at least 2 years from the date of asset purchase. So basically 2 years from the date asset purchase, we will refer to the date of invoice that issued by the supplier. So basically company need to submit MGTC within the period. And then application that more than 2 years will not be eligible for this incentive. So for the application, for the other condition for GITA asset, the asset must be must be owned by the company and used for the business the asset must be owned by the company and for the business carried out in Malaysia. And then the asset must be for own consumption and not for income generation. Not for income generation meaning there's not for leasing or we can say lease to own. No, it must be investment made by the company for their own consumption only. And then the qualifying capex must be qualified asset by MOF, meaning the asset must be approved by the MOF and listed under MyHIJAU directory. So our process, our list of the list of qualifying asset. These are the list of qualifying asset. They are 17 asset, which is this from this table A. There are 9. Table A meaning those assets that been approved earlier in budget 2014. So these are the earlier list of qualifying asset under GITA asset, which is include under EE sector is a transformer, and then under building sector it covers solar, aircon, thermal energy storage, variable air volume VAV, VRV, and also which includes a transportation sector on electric vehicles and infrastructure, which include EV bus, EV motorcycle, electric MPV, and also EV charging equipment. So So the other 8 which approved in budget 2019 includes chiller, EE chiller, heat operated aircon, cooling tower, air compressor, industrial furnace, and also under renewable energy, which is a battery. And under waste sector is a trash compactor with a EE motor, and last one under water sector is a energy efficient pump. So basically, these are the approved green technology asset, the approved list of qualifying asset under GITA asset. So if you refer to the MyHIJAU directory, there are lots of equipment asset products that are registered under MyHIJAU directory. But then only these 17 qualifying asset that register under MyHIJAU mark that eligible under GITA assets. So for the process flow, GITA asset, submission direct to MGTC. So basically, companies or applicants need to check the asset eligibility first, like I mentioned earlier, the asset from the list of approved asset, and then the asset registered with MyHIJAU mark. If both yes, then the company may proceed for the investment, purchase the asset. And then company once purchase and install complete commission, company must submit application to MGTC. So for this application form, you may download from MyHIJAU portal. And then fill up the form, and together in the form there are a checklist of supporting documents, which includes a copy of electricity bills 3 months before. Company must submit electricity bills 3 months before installation and after installation, and copy of invoice, copy of MyHIJAU certificate for the equipment, and other documents. And then MGTC will screen and process the application. So once approved, MGTC will issue a validation letter. From this validation letter, company may submit tax claim to IRB. But just to share, for GITA asset, the company can only claim after the incentive after the gazette order being issued by Ministry of Finance, MOF. And to date, currently, they haven't released the gazette order yet. And for this, we still process the application. And then once it be issued by the respective ministries, we will update the applicants. So next is on the determination on effective date. So basically this process, determination effective date is for GITA project and GITA services only. So for those applications that submitted to MIDA from starting January 2020, MGTC will do the determination of effective date. So after company obtain the MIDA interim approval letter, they need to submit to MGTC for the effective date. And the form can be downloaded from MGTC website, www.mgtc.gov.my. So these for new regime lah, we can say the application made to MIDA starting from 1st January 2020. So for previously, there's no process for the determination effective date. So a company need to check lah if their application falls under section 1273B, then they need to proceed submission to MGTC for the determination on effective date. Okay, next I go through a guideline for GITA projects. So for GITA projects, MGTC, our role is to verify the technical requirement, including the main equipment asset for the performance and also on the impact from the project. So our verification, first one, we look into the 60% of main equipment asset in the GITA project must be recognized by recognized and registered under MyHIJAU mark or have product certification. Meaning the main equipment must have either MyHIJAU certificate or product certificate. The product certificate consists of safety, quality, and performance compliance, which is that recognized and accepted by MGTC from the third-party verification body. So, what is the main equipment asset that MGTC will verify? I give some simple example. Solar project. So basically, solar project, the main equipment is solar PV module and inverter. So these two main equipment must have either MyHIJAU certificate or product certificate for company to proceed with MGTC verification. So other than that, we will look into the project impact. So our role, we look into it on the environment part, on the energy saving, energy consumption, water saving. That part we will do the evaluation. So for the eligibility, GITA project, we look into the general criteria. Company must meet all the following criteria listed under the National Green Technology Policy. And then the application for GITA project must be submitted to MyHIJAU first. So starting 1st January 2020 until 31st December 2023. So these are the period of Green Technology Tax Credit. And then please ensure the application must be submitted to MyHIJAU first before you start the kick off the project or you incur the capex. So these are important things because if you start incur the capex, then submit to MyHIJAU, then the application will not be eligible for the incentive. So for green building projects, company is allowed to submit application after receiving provisional certificate and not later than having been awarded the final green building certificate. And then they can backdate their qualifying capital expenditure not earlier than 3 years from the application received MyHIJAU, but must be after 1st January 2020. For GITA project, same like a GITA asset, the rate is 100%. 100% of qualifying capex from date first capex incurred after submission to MyHIJAU. So how this allowance ITA works, it offset against 70% of statutory income. So if let's say there are balance from the first year of tax claim, the company can carry forward their ITA until fully absorbed. Okay. So this for application date to MyHIJAU from 1st January 2020, the incentive period is 3 years. 3 years we will start from the first date capex being incurred. So MGTC will do the verification for the first date of capex incurred through the determination of effective date process. So other condition under GITA project, the equipment in GITA project must be owned by the company, and then main equipment must be registered under MyHIJAU mark or have product certification. And then MGTC will conduct annual verification throughout the incentive period, and there will be fees, processing fees will be charged to the company. Once verification letter issued, company can proceed to tax claim to IRB. These are the list of qualifying activities, which is under GITA project. There are 5 qualifying activities. The first one is on renewable energy, which covers biomass, biogas, mini hydro, geothermal, and solar power. Number two, under qualifying activities is on energy efficiency, where for companies that they do the investment on equipment or technologies, or they replace all inefficient equipment to efficient equipment and or other investment on the energy saving equipment. Number three is on the green building. Green building is for the building owners that obtain a professional certificate from local developed rating tools. So currently we accept three rating tools, which is on from GBI. Number two is Green RE by Radar, and then MyCrest. So these three green building ratings tools certificate that recognized for this incentive. And then number four for green data center, and last one is for waste management. So waste management basically is for companies that undertake integrated waste management. Meaning they do investment in waste or recycling or waste treatment, and additional that must be integrated, additional activities until the disposal. So for the process flow, company needs to submit application to MyHIJAU first. So for Gita project, it's different to Gita asset. For Gita asset, company must submit application direct to MGTC. But for Gita project, they need to submit application to MyHIJAU. And then, like I mentioned earlier, need to check the eligibility for Gita project, qualifying activities, and then must submit application before incur any capex before start the project. So that one need to ensure submit application first to MyHIJAU. And then application right now, MyHIJAU, they do the online application. So company must submit online application to MyHIJAU, and then MyHIJAU will table in the National Committee on Investment, and then once approved by the committee, MyHIJAU will issue interim approval letter. So next, our role came after company obtained interim approval letter MyHIJAU. So basically, company needs to submit application for determination on effective date. So for this one, company need to download the application form from MGTC website, and then fill up the form together with the supporting documents, which is a copy of invoices for the approved project that been verified by the external auditor. And then MGTC will verify the documents, information. Once approved, we will issue a letter on effective date. So after company obtain the letter on effective date, we will proceed with project technical evaluation. So for technical evaluation, we look into the technical part of the project, the impact, everything. So for this one, company need to submit application to MGTC. There will be one form. MGTC will email to the companies, and then also company may obtain that form through MGTC website. Fill up the form together with the supporting documents, and then MGTC will do the technical evaluation. Once approved, we will issue the validation letter. So after we issue validation letter, company may proceed with tax claim. So last one for green income tax exemption. For green income tax exemption is for companies which is a service provider that provide green technology services, and then the service provider must register under MyHIJAU mark service. So for verification on green service, GT services, for our role, MGTC to verify the services provided by the applicant. So the applicant, the service provider must register under MyHIJAU mark services. Okay, and then their income must be 100% derived from the green technology activities. So for the eligibility, GT services, first, company must employ at least 5 full-time employees with 2 competent personnel. So basically, competent personnel, the one that holding a certificate of competency. And then that certificate must be recognized by government. So they must have 2 competent personnel. And number 2, they must have a green policy related to environmental or sustainability. And number 3, company must have documented standard operating procedure. I think number 1, number 2, number 3 shouldn't be a problem because these are the same documents that company need to submit for the registration MyHIJAU mark services. And then the important parts, their income of the company. So basically 100% income must be derived from the respective green technology services. For example, they are doing renewable, they are service provider for renewable energy solar. So they do the installation, servicing, services, maintenance, everything. 100%, they are eligible to apply. But if they do 70% and the 30%, they do non-related to renewable energy. For example, they do other businesses like restaurant or something not related. That one will not be eligible. Okay. So application must be submitted to MyHIJAU before the issuance of first invoice. So company must submit application first to MyHIJAU, and then the period for incentive is 3 years starting from the assessment year of first invoice related to green technology services. And then the date of first invoice shall not be earlier than the date they submit application to MyHIJAU. So basically, company must submit application to MyHIJAU first before they issue the first invoice. Okay. So these are the requirements for the competent personnel. For the competent personnel, at least 2 competent personnel for each company. And then we look into this requirement. First, the competent personnel must be registered with professional body, active member, actively practicing. So we look into their CPD points, must be up to date. So every year they must have updated their CPD points. And then the competent personnel must be permanent staff of the company. So this is an important part. So we will verify all the requirement for GT services. So for GT services, the rate of incentive is 70% income tax exemption of 70% on the statutory income for the qualifying green services from the year assessment where first invoice issued. And then for new company, date of first invoice as verified to MGTC not earlier than 1st January 2020. For existing company, date shall not be earlier than application to MyHIJAU. So whatever is this, need to submit application to MyHIJAU first. So other condition, company must obtain verification from MGTC, and then the verification we will conduct yearly, meaning we do the annual verification throughout the incentive period. So 3 years of assessment and then once approved, we'll issue the verification letter, validation letter for next tax claim. So these are the list of qualifying services, which is there are 7 qualifying services, which include renewable energy, energy efficiency, EV, green building, green data center. So for the previous incentive, which is I call it on the application before 1st January 2020, which is the old regime one, most of the application we receive is mostly from the renewable energy, energy efficiency and green buildings. So we hope more service provider, other qualifying services that register with MyHIJAU mark and do the 100% this green technology to start the services. So for GITE services, the process flow more or less just same like GITA project, because the application must be submitted to MyHIJAU, and then MyHIJAU will table to National Committee Investment. So once the committee approve, MyHIJAU will issue an interim approval letter. So our role, after a company receive a MyHIJAU interim approval letter, they need to submit for MGTC verification, service verification. Before the service verification, they need to go to for the determination effective date. So these are the new process, which is MGTC will verify and determine the effective date for GITE services. And then once approved, we will issue the letter on effective date. After that, we will proceed with verification. So for the verification, company need to submit documents such as copy application form, MyHIJAU certificate, their list of invoices, their audited accounts, which later MGTC will list down for companies, and then company once approved will issue the validation letter. So from this validation letter, meaning company comply the condition, they can proceed with a tax claim. So for annual verification, like mentioned earlier, we'll conduct throughout the incentive period. So there will be processing fees charged for this application. So for GITA asset, as you can see, is 1,000 for each asset and per application. And for GITA project, it based on the cost of equipment. And for GITA services, is 2,000 for each application. So that's all for green technology tax incentive. But if let's say you have any question, you can email me sitifatima@mgtc.gov.my. That's all. Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you, Puan Siti. Thank you, Puan Siti, for the comprehensive input on GITA. So now we are officially moving on to the Q&A session. Any participants can ask questions and do let us know your name, your company, followed by your questions. You may also utilize the live chat located at the very bottom of the screen. Please be reminded that this session will last for 15 minutes. Should you need further clarification or face-to-face discussion, you may set an appointment with the person in charge via any platform at your convenience. We shall begin the session now. So I got one question from Su and Go. Mackenzie Industries Sdn Bhd, a boiler manufacturer for biomass boiler, fire tube boiler, economizer, heat recovery, steam generation. So this question, so this question for Puan Syahira. For first question, are we eligible for application of MyHIJAU? Second question, if eligible, who can claim the manufacturer or end user? And third question, it is applicable for our client as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Faiz, for reading that question. Thank you, Ms. Su Ann Go from Mackenzie Industries in Berhad for asking that question. For the first question, are we eligible for application of the MyHIJAU? You are saying that you are basically the boiler manufacturer for biomass boiler, okay, and together with the heat recovery steam generator. Yes, to answer your question, yes, these are all products that are basically eligible for the application of MyHIJAU. Okay, if you are submitting all these products for the registration of MyHIJAU, you have to basically apply them under the performance standard compliant test report, meaning you have to obtain the safety, quality, and also performance test report for all this equipment. Okay, for the boiler and also the generator, for the safety, you have to obtain. Sorry, I need to open up my video. Okay, for the safety, you have to obtain like CE marking or any safety regulation like directive, okay, CSA approval, UL standard and so on. Okay, for the performance part, you need to submit to us for the generator, the ISO standard that are applicable for the performance of that steam generator. Okay, same goes to the boiler. The performance that related to the ISO standard or any EN or standard that could support for the performance of the boiler. Okay, so for the next question, I pass to you, Puan Siti Fatimah.
Okay, for next question, the one that can claim is the end user. So the end user, the one that invests for the project lah. So they can claim. The question, clients, like I mentioned, yes, yeah, the end user, the client can apply for GITA project, which they can, during evaluation to MGTC, they will attach MyHIJAU certificate for the boiler.
Okay, thank you, Puan Siti and Puan Syaira for the answer. Okay, I think this question for Puan Syaira again. After obtaining the MyHIJAU, can we get tax refund for our product?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Paulo from AAE Solutions in Berhad. I was mentioned that your product is basically solar thin film, right? Okay, for your information, for the eligibility of green technology tax incentive, it is only applicable for the equipment and also system. Okay, for the green tax incentive, the benefit will be more into the equipment and also system that have been registered under the MyHIJAU mark. So for the consumable product or other types of product that are non-classified as a equipment and also system, you will be more enjoying in terms of government green procurement benefits as well as the green private procurement. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Puan Syaira. So this question for Puan Siti. Okay, Puan Siti, just now you said that the application needs to be made before CapEx is spent. Do you mean for the entire project or just for the green or efficiency portion of the project?
Okay, hi. For this question, yes, before the project started, meaning company must submit application to MyHIJAU first before they start the project.
Thank you, Puan Siti. But we have another question for you from Concord Group. For GITA said, if we are buying an electric motorcycle for our staff used in work travel, do we still submit the electricity bill before and after as supporting documents? because it is not for reducing electricity consumption, but more to reducing GHG emission.
For Gita asset, EV motorcycle, electric motorcycles, no need for the TMB electricity bills. Those equipment, the energy efficiency equipment under EE sector are those that required for the TMB bills. But please ensure that for the electric motorcycles, it must be registered under MyHIJAU mark. Okay.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, please. Okay, from company Rave Consulting, question is for quantity. Just now you mentioned that in the application process, we need to submit electricity bills to prove that the asset have achieved an energy decrease. What happens when this is a new building?
Okay, thank you for the question. Basically, for the electricity bills, for our baseline, we do the calculation for energy consumption before and after. But for the case that new buildings, the baseline will be the zero lah. We consider it zero. So we just need the data sheet, technical data sheet for the equipment only from the company. So they can submit regarding the TMB electricity bills. They submit after the installation. Thank you.
Thank you. So, if the project has started, can company submit MyHIJAU and claim for the balance of the project not yet incurred?
Okay, thank you for the question. For project that started, okay, basically it's stated in the guideline. Basically, company need to submit before they start the project. So if they have started the project, they kick off, they incurred the capex, so they will not be eligible for this incentive. Thank you.
Okay, so roughly we have 5 minutes more for Q&A sessions. Anyone can give any questions to person in charge? Any questions? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, 15 minutes has gone by and we will end this webinar. For another question that we have not mentioned, we will reply in email. We really appreciate if you can fill up the survey form that you receive in email at the end of webinar. And we also welcome you to visit our booth IGEM 2021, MyHIJAU and MGTC. On behalf of MGTC, we would like to thank you for your active and notable participations during this webinar. We hope that you have found this webinar fruitful and gained relevant information of government incentive provided under MGTC. That's all from us. Stay safe and have a good day ahead. Thank you.